Hello and welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to do something a little bit different to usual, and I'm going to do some backtesting on EURUSD for some low time frame trades. Before we dive into today's video, I want to let you know about my free trading course. This is a 13-part video series designed to show you why you're not winning and how you can turn your results around. You can enroll in this course for free by heading over to the first link in the description and signing up there. You'll get the free course sent straight to your inbox and you can start watching it right away. So when I'm trading intraday, all of the analysis is carried out on an intraday perspective. I don't need to know what's happening on the weekly chart or the daily chart. I can simply look at the current structure and work out what opportunities may be around from that. Normally, when I'm doing intraday work, I'll start on around the hourly or the 15-minute and just have a look at what the market is doing to work out where I would like to take this pair. So from looking at the 15-minute time frame here, I can see that we had a large sell-off. We formed a lower low, lower high, a lower low, and then what we've actually had here is a higher high. So I'm going to mark this out as a break of structure because it is. And we also have obviously an imbalanced price area leading into this kind of supply area up here. Now, a lot of the time when I'm doing the higher time frame stuff, we don't actually always use this in the day's trading. We have an overall idea here where, well, we've seen a lower low, lower high, lower low, but then we've seen a higher high. We obviously have got this demand region as well that we can see on the 15-minute. So from here, what I really then do is consider, okay, if we get a buy from here, we could look to take it towards this area, but sometimes I'm not going to do that. One thing I focus on heavily on the intraday trading, the early morning London session trading, is the Asian range. And we can see here the Asia range is marked out by this blue box. These boxes are sessions, by the way, for anyone who wants to know. This is the FXN Asia session range, just there. And what it does is mark out the different colors of the session. So green is London session, this is New York, this gray color, and then the blue is the Asia session. Now, through our Asia session, we get a lot of consolidation. We can see it many, many times across pretty much all of the different Asia sessions. We have consolidation phase, and another consolidation phase here. I like to trade using liquidity. So when I see a consolidation around an Asia range, I then focus on that in the morning to see if we're going to sweep out one way, we may then sweep out the other way. So in the morning, I will mark out the top and the bottom of the Asia session, see where price is trading, and if we get a sweep of that liquidity through the consolidation one way or the other, that could actually set us up with a nice trade. That doesn't mean that if we break the low here, we just buy straight in. But if we break the low and then we actually show some pushback to the upside, normally I'm going to be then looking for a buy. So that's something I'll definitely be looking for this day, because we've obviously got this imbalance now being filled, traded it into this 15-minute zone, and we do also see the price is trading very low to the bottom of the Asia range. So judging from what we've seen, where we may be targeting to the upside here, we could potentially see a move like this, where we push down into this demand zone. I'm going to refine this on the low time frames in a second. Then we could push up, get a nice entry, and then take that towards the Asia high. That's normally going to be a good target for a trade if we can get the right risk reward on it. We could try and push it all the way. That is true. And maybe we'll hold a partial if we do get an opportunity like this. But when we're intraday trading, the Asia high is a very clear target. We're usually going to come and fill that in before selling off further. So drawing this to an intraday basis, maybe I'm more interested in these levels. We can see supply area here. We can also use the Asia high as a target. There could also be a supply region somewhere around here as well. So we'll go down to the 10 minutes, see what that's looking like. The 10-minute could allow us to refine this zone a little bit further. It also gives us a clearer picture of this supply area as well. That's the last candle before the impulse. I know this confuses some people, my use of order blocks. I don't actually mark them on the last bullish before the bearish candle and so on. Some people would, but that's going to be too big a zone for me, and that has been retested. I'm looking for the last candle that really formed the impulse. So we see here the final consolidation, and then there was an impulse down. So for me then, I've got a clear picture now of what I'm going to work with this day. We obviously have this 10-minute range. We haven't retested that yet. We do have these equal lows in that Asia liquidity. So if we can sweep through, trade somewhat into the midpoint of this area, and then push back up over the range, I'll then look at the low time frames and see what entries we could get if we get an entry at all. Now, on the flip side, if the market breaks down through this low, I'll have to then reassess, but we may indeed get a push down like this, then a pull back up to potentially this supply area where we could then look for a second short. So we'll see how that goes. And now I'm going to be going to the lowest time frames, 5 minute, 1 minute, and so on, just to get a clear, very refined picture of what price is doing, because often I'm going to enter from the 1 minute time frame, or pretty much always I'm going to enter from the 1 minute time frame when I'm doing this low time frame trading. So let's just play price forward a little bit, see what we do. Looks like we are forming a third equal low. Okay, now we have a push through. We've had a bullish impulse back up. That's good to see. We have actually just broken this little sub point here. We haven't broken anything too major yet. We still could dip deeper. If we do look, there is a supply area here. I would not actually be looking to sell into this. The reason being, we are actually carrying out that kind of Asia sweep. There is potentially opportunity to sell in there, but that doesn't look a favorable opportunity to me. We obviously have had this fast impulse back up. We've just broken this structure point. We are trading towards this supply area, but we do have the whole demand region below. So I'm not going to sell into this personally. I will see if this breaks through. That's going to give me more confidence on a buy trade. So it looks like price may be reacting to that a little bit, respecting that level. We are seeing a push down now, another impulse up. We'll just see how it goes. We are once again ranging here. Okay, there we have a deeper push down. This could be a nice valid one if we scale back to previous price. Now we have to not get muddled up too much with the time frames. If we mark on this area, for example, let's see if we get a reaction. This is obviously the final candle before the impulse happened. So that's going to be the zone of interest for me. That has now been retested. So if we do get a push over this high here, and begin to make some bullish flow, I will be interested in actually looking to execute a buy to bring us into the top of the Asia range and potentially that supply area as well. Obviously, right now, there is no solid confirmations for me yet. We've just pierced that high that came from this zone here. I'll go ahead and mark on this bearish candle, the last candle before the impulse, remember? And now let's see whether or not the market is going to make a push higher. Now, right now, I do not want to buy from this zone. Purely because this isn't the strongest push away. We want to see more impulse. So I would like to see another push up, then a pull down, and we could buy from there. That is the confirmation we want to see on the trade. Now, that is actually a confirmation trade in itself. Some people would obviously like to wait for the price to come into here and then react. The thing is, when we are trading the low time frame work like this, the confirmation comes in the form of structure itself. So we've seen a push up, we've seen a higher low, a push up. There is also this zone that we could potentially focus on, but the reason that I will prefer to actually use the bottom zone is because it's imbalanced and it's the zone that broke structure, right? We had this zone here, we had the break of structure there, that little sweep, and then we have come in and formed a higher low and pushed up. But for me, I think the favorable area, if I'm going to be placing orders, which I generally will be on these kind of trades, it's going to be this level here. So let's just see if we impulse away a little bit. All right, we've seen some strength in this market now. So I will go ahead and put an order on and see how this one plays out. I'm going to use the top of the zone. A tip, I think in previous videos I may have mentioned entering from the middle point of the zone, but that should be valid on the 15-minute and above. Okay, if you're trading the 10-minute, 5-minute, 3-minute, 1-minute, I would not go and use the middle of the zone. The reason being, price often does not come back to retest the middle of the zone, and you will miss a lot of trades. Right, I've done that from personal testing. I've learned that the hard way, essentially. We have a 4.5R setup targeting into the Asia high. We could potentially extend that target for another around 8 pips into the supply zone we targeted. I think the safest bet for most trades is actually the Asia high. So I'm going to go with the Asia high for this one. 4.5R is not a bad setup. I'm risking 1% here or 0.5% to make a potential 4.5 or 2.25%. So that's not bad whatsoever. I'm going to let that run. See if we do get tagged in on this trade. If we do, the stop loss is below the low. The target is into the high there at 1.12897, which is the Asia high. And then we'll actually see if the trade wins. Let's see if it pushes through into this supply area as well and fulfills that major target. So from here, it's really just let it go. If the market does make some significant movements away, then we will, of course, want to find secondary entries. Okay, we did get a little reaction there from that demand zone that I mentioned where we had this area. But as you can see, the market is actually getting weak again now and looking to push through. That would make me happier. That would give me a better trade. The reason I don't execute there is because we do have this clear imbalance, and this is the zone that initially broke structure. This is where the momentum is coming from. So for me, that's where I would like to focus. So if we let the market do its thing, we will see, are we going to get tagged in, or is this going to be a missed trade? And we've now been tagged in on this position. Let's see if it is a winning position or if we do get stopped out. See if this Asia sweep was valid or not. So the market is starting to move in the right direction. We would like to see some structure breaks. Some structure breaks would actually confirm the upside there. So we have just about got first structure break, nothing too significant going on there. Okay, we've now broken a couple points of structure. At this area, I'm going to go break even on the trade. I'm not going to shift the stops up yet because I want to see some significant breaks. Significant break would mean, the most previous higher high. So if we can break over that, I'll then go and trail my stop, possibly to this point here, but potentially higher. We'll just see what the market gives us. As we can see, okay, we've had a break over that. This is where I would then go and move my stop. My stop trailing system is basically when we get a movement like this. Let's say we buy in from the low. I'm waiting for a higher low and then a new higher high to form. Okay, so if we brought in at this area here, I would go break even after the first impulse, but I don't want to be trailing my stops until we form a clear higher low. But we can't only form a clear higher low, we have to form a clear higher low and then a new higher high in the trend because that tells us the trend is intact. So if we then trail the stops behind it like so, we are only going to get stopped out if the trend shifts, right? So we had here higher high, higher low, and then a new higher high breaking over that point there. And that's why I'm focusing on this region. But the reason I didn't go break even until we broke this is because we have higher high, higher low, and then that higher high there. All right. So I'm using the substructure there within the larger structure there to actually trail the stop in. And it does look like this trade is going to work out. I would imagine if we look back at some of the previous price here, the final point, really, the next point of resistance is going to be that Asia high. So we will keep our targets on the Asia high there. May come into this supply area. So I'm just going to mark this on as well, just to be cautious. If we start reacting from that, we may want to manually close, pretty much for the full profit. And here we may be coming down. Looks like we are forming a higher low potentially. Will we form a higher high? If we do break that structure, remember what I just said, I will then go ahead and shift the stops a little bit further. So no momentum on that break just yet. But if we leave it, we will see. Okay, we are breaking out. This is the point where I'm then going to trail the stop to the next point. So first trailed stop was there around 1R. Next trail stop is going to be under this point here because then we are, following the structure. Higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. So we've broken this structure point, so we can therefore trail the stop loss. And if we let it move now, okay, we've hit that first point. If we get a bearish candle, I may be inclined to actually close the position. If we close under this level, the reason I would manually close there is because we are obviously going to be reacting from supply. Keeping an eye on this demand area as well that I'm just seeing in the low. So I think in this position, I'll probably just stick to my guns here, see what we can actually get out of this. So we're going to be looking at around a 2.5R position if we are stopped there. So there's no reason to intervene right now because at the end of the day, if we take it now, we're only going to be getting around 2.8 or something. Very little more than what we would get if we got stopped out there. So keeping in mind our stop loss is just under this low. We can now see if we react from this demand and move up, we can get the full profits. If, however, we do dip through, we will be closing out a 2.5R position. At the moment, the momentum is looking a bit slow. It does look like we may get stopped out for that 2.5R profit, but we will see. Demand appears to be holding up a little bit sideways on the price action. Okay, there we are, and we've been stopped out of this position now. So my stop has been hit here. The trend has actually shown a break here, so that is taking me out of the position at 2.5R profit. That's going to be 2.5% at this level, or 2.46% on that movement. That is a standard system trade. Now, as it stands, I do believe we could come in and hit that Asia high. This zone is actually the zone that broke this significant structure. There was an imbalance and a large impulse that came out of this. So it could be worth actually looking at a re-entry from this level. All right. So if we went ahead and then used 0.5% risk, for example, that means we're not giving away too much of our profits. Or if you use 0.5% risk on this move, you could look at using 0.25% on this one. And we could simply look at, keeping the stops under this area and then looking to target that Asia high with half risk. That is a 5.95R position, pretty much a 6R position. So if this was filled at 0.5% versus a 2.46% profit here, the maximum we can actually lose is 0.5. So we'll be ending the day with 1.96R. On the flip side, if this wins, we can actually pull another 3% out of the market. So sometimes it's actually good to be dynamic with it. Maybe drop a little bit of risk on when it is logical to do so. I don't know if this is going to slam straight through or if it's going to move to the upside. But an entry like this would be a good one where we can buy in from the top of this imbalanced zone and just run the risk into the high there. But the thing is, as I just mentioned, we don't want to risk all our profits. So if I just won a 2.46R trade, I don't want to risk 1% on a conditional move like this when the market is actually looking for a breakdown. Because if it does slam straight through, you know, I'm on 1.46R for the day, which is okay. But obviously, if we can get 1.96, essentially 2%, and then run the potential of making 3%, that's better to me than losing a full percent on kind of a tricky move like this. So we may get the move up now. Once again, I'm just still targeting the Asia high. I'm not trying to push this too far. We can see the market is making a move up. So we would go break even now, right? We've had a push up here, which has broken this high. So we could go break even on this trade. If we then break the next high, we can start trailing the stops. So if we get a move like this, breaking that high there, that is when I'll then look to trail the stop up to this point. Let's see how the market goes. Are we going to get the break or are we going to get a breakdown? Area of interest is going to be this demand area if we do come down. Looking like we are pushing a little bit to the upside now. Let's see if we can get that breakout. Okay, we've seen a clear break here. I'm going to go ahead and trail the stop now. Not too much momentum in this upside move, but that could be another reason to, you know, get that risk cut off and actually get a little bit of profit locked in. Because if the momentum's not strong and we do start selling off, obviously we can see there's this supply area that we just traded into as well. So, you know, the markets aren't always going to be entirely clear on the direction. That's why we have to manage trades, because if we manage trades, we can actually get more profits than if we just let them run and hope that they work out for us. So we can see the market is now making a good move up. If we see a break of this high, I'm very confident we will sweep into that Asia high there. We may come down and trail the stops. All right, it's looking like we are going to get the target filled. And there we go. So that's the Asia high met on the second position. When we trailed stops, we trailed it to 2.2R, which would have been 1.1% profit. But the target has now been hit for almost 3% total there. Now, will we fill through into this area? Let's just have a look as an experiment if we are going to go and fill that supply area. And if we don't, you'll see how effective the Asia high is for a New York session target, for a London session target even. And it looks like we've lost quite a lot of momentum. I'm just going to let it run and see where it goes. So that is essentially a day of trading. There you go. Yeah, the Asia session high really broke down the actual strength of the movement. And that is why we actually use the Asia high as targets and the Asia low sweep as the entry as well. So you can see what I said about the Asia high and low. We get this consolidation range. We normally get sweeps either side. There was this sweep here. And then when we got some significant push to the upside, we could buy into that. If we'd held the stops to break even, yeah, we would have fulfilled the full move. But that's not what my system tells me to do. When I trade my system, I always trail the stops. I have a set rule to follow. And so that worked out very nicely for a 2.46R profit. And then we actually jumped in for another 5.95R trade at half risk to make sure we don't lose everything we've made that day. And that was just a little insight into some of the London session trading that I would carry out regularly. You know, just looking for Asia range, some 15-minute or 10-minute levels, what's going on the higher time frames, where could we go on a high time frame perspective, and then where's the best places to target for an intraday, very short-term move perspective. And as we can see, we had clear trades from the sweep of the low to the sweep of the high. And that is just a quick rundown into EURUSD and a little backtesting session that I thought I would do with you. If you want to get more backtesting videos and see the thought processes behind my trading every single week, as well as get case studies of all the trades I take, daily trade ideas, and my entire start to finish system course so you can learn how I trade, then head over to the second link in the description and enroll in the Trading Academy. You get everything within that. It's a lifetime package. I have over 150 students now. Everyone within the academy has progressed their trading massively, and some have even gone forward to get themselves funded accounts. I will be doing more on the topic of funding in 2022. So if your goal is to become a successful funded trader, head over to that link in the description and I'll see you within the academy.